first question, I'll start off from, very broad, 10,000 feet. I think it's really important for me to know, as well as any aspiring food entrepreneur, what is the biggest misconception about food startups?
The biggest misconception about food startups?
A different way to ask that would be, what do you wish you knew then that you know now?
That's a good question. I mean, when you frame it like that, honestly, I wish I knew a lot more when I started Peach. I had worked in food service before, but ultimately, I think there's two things, right? One, your investment in human capital is so important. And when I say that, your team will make or break you in this industry, right? So you can't run every shift. You can't prep every protein. You can't chop every herb, right? You got to have people that work for you. And how you manage that team and how you build that team and how you cultivate that team ultimately as an owner and as a manager really dictates your level of success. And I think if you've never owned a business before and you think, oh, I'm just going to open up a food truck operation, you don't necessarily tie that to the idea that you are going to be a manager and that you are going to be overseeing people. And I think that's something that people don't even consider, but that's any business. And so I think how you manage people, how you incentivize them, how you treat them, how you lead them, that's a big component, right? The other second component is your operating systems. And when I started Peach, I think it would be fair to say we had no operating system. We were winging it. We had no inventory system. We had no scheduling system. We had no PAR system. How do we know what to order? We're just going to fucking order what we need today, And is that something that a lot of food trucks encounter? Sure, because they're not coming into it with a systemized mindset. But the quicker you can establish those systems, the better. Now, I'll be honest, and I'll tell the world this. I'm not a great systems guy. That's probably been my biggest weakness. I'm good at big picture. I'm good at ideas. I feel like I'm pretty good at hiring, but in terms of creating really strong functional systems, not always my strong point. So I think for you, if you know you're a good systems guy, then you need to be in charge of implementing those. And if you're not, then hopefully your partner is. But those two things, really important, And you notice we haven't even talked about food, right? We just talked about two things that have nothing really to do with food.
Could be any business.
Could be any business, but so key to building your business.